All right, so yesterday we got a little bit of clarification on jump points, and this was actually pretty, I think it was pretty based. I think we learned a little bit of something about the way they do content as well. So let's jump over here, and this is from Ed Fuller. He was on the ISC, so I can't really describe him. He just was a regular looking dude in terms of who he was. He's got an English accent. He's on the mission team, I believe, or unless he's moved somewhere else. But he says, hey there, jump points are a big feature. There is a lot going on in the design, more than could be communicated in one ISC. So there are some bits of that info that I realized afterwards that we managed to gloss over, and some of these seem to have caused a lot of speculation and controversies. So I'd like to attempt to rectify some of those and clarify some others. Transient jump points do not have or use ATCs. Transient jump points are free for all experiences. You align, tune, and activate the jump point, and then are pulled in. Okay. As you can see from transient jump points, the inclusion of ATC in the permanent... Okay, the punctuation's weird. The inclusion of ATC in the permanent jump point flow is not a technical requirement needed for transitioning players between systems or anything like that. They are part of the flow solely for gameplay reasons. Their definition of gameplay, I'm sorry, is so fucking stupid. Oh my god. How is this gameplay? But sure, I will keep listening. I'm getting... I feel myself burning up hearing this. Because this is very silly. The ATC exists here for fairness to all jumpers. A fairness intentionally omitted in the transient flow. The permanent jump points will likely be busy, high-volume routes. We don't want slower ships being trumped to jump by faster ships all the time. We also want to make sure we protect these ships who have waited and determine who is at fault for doing something obstructive. ATC will help us do that. So what they mean by gameplay reasons is a line and fairness of who gets to the jump point first should be able to go through it. So what I thought that they meant and why I got so upset is this group bullshit is for gameplay reasons. I don't believe the grouping stuff is for gameplay reasons. And if it is a really, really bad idea. It is a really bad idea, and like I've been saying for like a month now, everybody at CIG should be required to play minimum 2 months of EVE, because it is just simple that, like, you're gonna see at the bare minimum, you're gonna see the edge case of toxicity of PvP content. You're going to see the worst possible things, and you can develop for those things if it is in your game design to prevent it. And what I'm talking about is gate camping, right? You come through a gate and you just die. And that's pretty shitty part of EVE, I think. But it is what it is. It's part of the game, and it's not very fun to experience, right? And what CIG did, and I think that they thought that this was a thing, so they went along the route of, all right, we're going to group you up, and then your group seems like it's going to be spread out all around the jump point, so nobody's going to be in one singular spot. Okay, so in Star Citizen, if you're in one singular spot, there's really only one weapon that can do some serious damage to you, and that's an A2 bomb, right? If you are grouped together, you could defend yourself together. Now, we're spreading us out all around the jump point to make it harder for us to individually die. But if a bunch of people are hanging out at the jump point, then it becomes a bunch of individual 1v1s, and most likely the people camping are going to be the ones who win those 1v1s, right? This is dumb. Not only that, but the groups will be limited, so if you are a 50-man group, you're not going to be able to jump through the gate. And if there are 55 people waiting on the other side and you're coming in 10 at a time, 10 die, 10 die, 10 die, 10 die, or 10 die, and then you tell people to not go through the gate. And then what? Especially in Pyro, where there's one way in, one way out before transient jump points. But they can just exit early. Does he address that? Because I don't want to speak on that if he addresses it, because the exit early thing is insane to me. That's also a really problematic thing. That seems really dumb, but we'll have to see. I don't know. Nobody said anything. Okay. Additionally, the ATC exists to imply and actually impose some level of decision-making on those who choose to skirt the law or play outright criminally. Those players may instead choose or have to seek out transient jump points to make their journeys in order to avoid this extra scrutiny. Okay. Starting to understand the gameplay a little bit more. So I got really mad again because I am really mad about the groups. From a law perspective, if you are very bad in Stanton, you should not be allowed to use the jump point. Okay. And you got to find the other way around. Curious if they're doing transient jump points for 4.0 or not, or if this is our general game design, but we don't have any plans of doing that for 4.0. That's outside the scope of 4.0. That's my guess here. I also want to clarify how ATC works. I also want to clarify how ATC also makes sense as a part of a bigger picture. Think of a permanent jump point as a known controlled border checkpoint between systems. If you were the UEE authority in charge of protecting a system like Stanton from lawless systems that you know you border with, like Pyro, would you operate in open borders with them? I don't think you would. You'd find a way to control it. Okay. In this sense, ATC is being used as the gatekeeper. How does it do that? I see you all asking. If ATC hasn't granted you permission to jump yet, then by default, they actively jam jump drives from tuning. Once you have permission to jump, they selectively choose to stop jamming your jump drive, which lets you tune jump simple. Finally, I wanted to clarify an error on one clip of footage. You don't shoot the jump point with a gun to activate it, but you do initiate the opening with an activation step. Fucking CIG. CIG gameplay footage team strikes again at making things up that aren't real. Like, they're doing the best they can, but yeah, this is cool. Like, I'm not really shitting on them for it. They're doing the best they can, but we learn a little bit about the way ISC is produced. The footage showed this as a physical shot from a gun, but it was wrong to be depicted like that. I'm sorry I didn't spot it in the edit before the video was released. I would have sought its removal. So please don't worry. We didn't add combat to opening a jump point. Thanks for reading, Ed Fuller, Senior Principal System Designer. So, no mention of the grouping gameplay. That's the biggest problem out of everything. And the ATC is the least of the problems, but this community is too cooked to realize that. So, I don't want to use an ATC at a natural jump point. That's ridiculous. That's what this community was worried about. The real problem here is the fact that they're going to limit your groups, and what is on the other side they'll just have a scout. All right, 5 of these coming through. All right, we'll just make sure we have 10 of those, and you just die over and over again. And that's basically going to be what jump points are going to be like. It's going to be even worse than Eve. The thing about Eve is there aren't as many singular dead ends like this. This is straight up a dead end. Is it tech limitation or just a gameplay one? They didn't say. So they're speaking on ATC as a security system in terms of gameplay, but they did not speak on groups as a limitation of how many people can jump through the jump point or what. I have a feeling it is to limit how many players are in shards, like it's a server meshing thing. But yeah, this is weird. It's very weird. So my biggest concern is not addressed. Some clarification on the footage from Jared. Okay. Hi all, Jared here. Unfortunately, while this isn't what the footage showed, because Ed said it simply isn't how it works, I could see how our choice of vehicle and camera angles combined with the terminology like fire or burst instead of activate or emit would cause a misconception on many folks. At present, the burst emits from the field being generated at the forwardmost part of your vehicle. That there are guns there on the Vanguard. That was incidental. This is how it looks at present on the Vanguard. We'll take note of any future revisitations. Why does this matter? It doesn't matter. It's just visual. It doesn't matter. Why are we not focused on the things that matter? Normal BS damage control. No. This CIG is reacting to the community reacting. But the community is reacting to things that just don't matter. Right? And they're not realizing that limiting how many people can jump through a gate at one time means that people on the other side have an insanely unfair advantage if there is combat planned at those locations, which at both locations, combat can exist. If you are coming through Pyro to Stanton, you can fire on players at the Stanton jump point, the Stanton Pyro jump point, and you obviously can fire at players at the Pyro Stanton jump point, right? So they're not really... They didn't explain that well enough, and I'm confused. I'm concerned. I'm frustrated a little bit. But I imagine we'll see that in 4.0. We'll give the feedback, and they will address. They will arrive at different locations. No, they will not. So just that has been clarified. Unfortunately, it was clarified in my Twitch chat and not on Spectrum. Honestly, I should message Jake and ask him to post it on Spectrum or something, because it was only posted in my Twitch chat. So, share this around or whatever if you want. But I think it should be posted somewhere more official. But I was concerned about so we're going to be like popping out all over the system and not near each other. That's super weird. So he expressed that you're all going to be spawning in. So if I'm coming from Stanton to Pyro, you're going to be popping in at the Pyro jump gate. You're all going to be in the same location. You're not going to be directly on top of each other because they want to avoid collisions and things like that. So that's the idea there. Maybe there will be armistice or security posted. That's not how the game works, and security doesn't function currently. So I'm concerned about the current time. Hopefully you're right about security at some point, but for now, we don't have AI that can act as security. Yeah, you won't just be directly coming out of the jump gate entrance, but you will be at the gate area. So you're going to be spread out a little bit. Also, in my opinion, a massive mistake. Because if you look at master modes and you look at the way the flight combat is, the direction it's going in, the more Zergs are winning out, and they probably always will. like in any game, Zergs are Zergs for a reason. There's kind of hard to avoid. And when players are closer together, they're able to defend themselves better. They can fire on into a certain target and take that target out. They can work together, so on and so forth. If you are spread out, then the people who are camping a gate can go around and kind of take you guys out one by one because nobody's close enough to be together. So hopefully they address those two concerns. Those are my only concerns. Visually, I don't care. The time it takes to get through a jump point, I don't care. The fact that there's a gate around it, okay, whatever. It looked cool, but I also don't care. Yeah, I care about the gameplay on one side that I really want to participate in, or the shit that somebody is buying on this side that I really want to participate in, or doing the transfers between those. That's what I care about. The reasons to go through the gate, but also the design of the gate, right? Yes, it isn't incorrect, but people's Blazemonger said the exit issue is talked about at 12:50 at the jump point video. It explicitly mentions that there will be several exit points to prevent camping. Was that incorrect? It does not prevent camping. So Jake in chat, Jake Acapella was in chat saying that it doesn't prevent camping, but it should make it more difficult, I guess, because they'll be jumping out. Now, what we don't know is, will our group be spread out, or will our group not be in one individual spot where you can just have an A2 bomb waiting to drop on somebody, right? So there's a lot of clarification that has to happen there. I could ask him to make a Spectrum post, because I have noticed a lot of people were confused about that. See if he's down to, or ask Ed Fuller or somebody like that to respond to it. We'll have to see. So we'll have to see. I don't know. Well, what they show is not representative of what the game is typically. It's the first iteration. I'm sure this will get settled over time. We don't have time anymore. Use your brain and get it right the first time. These are simple things that have been resolved by other games for many, many years. No, we do not have time. No, it has been 12 years. I don't know how old you are. I don't know how old anybody is, but nobody wants to wait anymore, dude. Nobody wants to wait for obvious, silly choices. It is very obvious. I can read, or I can see something posted in a video before the content comes out and know that this is stupid. And we don't need to find out that it's stupid in order to make the change. You know it's stupid, fix it. Or you know that you spoke and said it to make it seem stupid, like by accident, and then we need to address it. Is it dumb or is it not? We need to know, right? If I'm in a group of 10 and we're all spread out 20 kilometers from each other when we come out of the gate, that's not good. So I might make a Spectrum post myself and ask for clarification on that specific subject, and see if we get an answer. And I wanna bring up the discussion of gate camping, because in a situation like Star Citizen, the gate camping thing is going to be a problem. Now these other jump points will help prevent that, right? These other sneaky ones should prevent the idea of gate camping. But we don't have those yet, and we probably won't have those in 4.0, so we'll have to see. But the group idea I find to be very problematic, and the spreading out when coming into a jump point is very problematic. My fingers crossed is that there are 10 random places that you can spawn into Pyro, and when you go through the gate, you'll just choose one of those, but you come with your group. That's my hope. My hope is that's how it works. How it sounded is we're all just going to be all over the place, and we're going to have to come together to get back together in order to go on our adventures in either Pyro or Stanton, right? So we'll have to see. I think this gates are safe on both sides. They are not. Jake confirmed that as well. Gate camping is possible, but they're trying to make it more difficult. So we have to see. The video looked like they all came. The videos don't matter. How many years have you been here? The CIG video production team make up the videos to look cool, but they do not know the gameplay because the gameplay doesn't exist. We cannot look at the video. You need to hear from the developer. So I'm going to try and see if we can get a post on Spectrum about it, okay? And that's where I'll leave that. Talk 20 minutes about a single post. It's too long.